Hello Year 12 and welcome to our second video here for our 10th topic. In our last exercise we looked at heart rates and we calculated them, the number of beats divided by the number of minutes. Now that's a pretty good start. We're going to look at a bit more stuff about heart rates today. We're going to talk about some heart rate formulas. We're going to introduce a few new little terms here. So first of all, when you exercise or do some other sort of activity, your heart rate tends to go up. It goes up from a base rate called our resting heart rate. Now, if you're lying down, sitting down, watching a boring show on TV, something like that, then your heart rate will be at its lowest point, its resting heart rate. You do some exercise or do something exciting like watching a maths video on YouTube, then your heart rate's going to go up. Okay, so our resting heart rate's normally somewhere between 60 and 100. Next up, we're going to talk about our maximum heart rate. That's the highest we can safely get our heart rate to. Okay. Now that decreases with age, and we can calculate it slightly differently for males and females. Right, we calculate the maximum heart rate for males as 220 beats per minute minus our age in years, and for females it's just slightly different, 226 beats per minute minus the age in years. Right, so that's our maximum heart rate. Every year it decreases by 1. Here's an example, because they're always a good way to get our head around these things. So Manjit is a 45-year-old male. What is his maximum heart rate? Pretty simple, 220 minus 45, right, which is 175. Manon is a 14-year-old female. What is her maximum heart rate? Well, because she's a female, it's 226. Minus her age of 14 is 212 beats per minute. Okay, quite a big difference there between Manjit and Manon because of their age and also their sex. Righto, that's maximum heart rate. We calculate that by subtracting your age from either 220 or 226. Now, we don't always exercise at our maximum heart rate, or for that matter, at our resting heart rate. It's not much of an exercise if you do. So somewhere in between, we call this our target or maybe training heart rate, abbreviated THR. Now, how far we have increased our heart rate, how much we've increased it from our resting towards our maximum. Right? If we represent that as a percentage, we'll call it the intensity. Right? So if we're at our resting heart rate, that's 0% intensity. If we are at our maximum heart rate, that's 100% intensity, and anywhere in between, right, is going to be a percentage. Now, here's a question for you. If Myrtle's resting heart rate is 85 beats per minute and her maximum heart rate is 195, what is her target heart rate at 50% intensity? We haven't quite talked about how to do this yet, but let's think about this. We're after an intensity of 50%. We want to be halfway between 85 and 195. Right? I can find halfway between two numbers by finding their mean or average. I'm going to add them together and divide by 2. Let's pull out the calculator and do that. Right? Make sure we can see everything going on pretty much. So I'm going to say 85. Oops. That's it. All right, here we go. 85 plus 195 over 2. So there you go, it's 140. That's halfway in between. So Myrtle's target heart rate, 140 beats per minute, is going to give her a 50% intensity level. Right. Now that's all well and good if we are talking about 50% intensity, or for that matter 0 or 100. We've got those sorted so far, but what if we're talking about something else like, I don't know, 65% or something? Well, I have a formula here for you. Now, the target heart rate is your resting heart rate plus, right, plus the difference between the maximum and resting heart rates multiplied by the intensity. Remember, that's a percentage, so we're going to put that over 100 probably. Alternatively, I can rearrange that formula and find the intensity as the difference between the target and the resting heart rate divided by the difference between the maximum and resting heart rate. So far, that's a lot of numbers there on the page, and I think it will be much better if we used an example to examine this a bit further. So Midori has a resting heart rate of 63 beats per minute and a maximum heart rate of 194 beats per minute. Calculate her target heart rate for an intensity of 65%. I'm going to use this top formula because I want to find the target heart rate. I've got the resting heart rate, the intensity, and the maximum heart rate. I've got all those things I need. I'm going to put them into the formula. So 63, that's our resting heart rate, plus our intensity as a percentage, so over 100, 65 over 100 times bracket 194 minus 63. Trusty calculator, here we go. Let's see if we can type that in nice and neatly. So I want to do 63 plus 65 over 100. You could, of course, say 0.65. That's fine, but, you know, that's how we wrote it. That's how I'm going to type it in. Then a bracket, 194 minus 63. Close the bracket. There we go. Now, I can quickly have a look there. Is that what I wrote down? Looks very similar to me. Equals, that's not a decimal, and I really would like a decimal. So it's about 148.15. And again, these things are far from precise, so I think an answer of 148 will be perfectly fine there. Midori's target heart rate is 148 beats per minute. Do we want another example? Of course we do. Now, here, Mika is a 60-year-old male. At rest, his heart rate beats 44 times in 30 seconds. And after going for a swim, his heart beats 30 times in 16 seconds. There's a fair bit of information there, most of it relevant. So, maximum heart rate. Remember, we calculate this separately for males and females. It tells us Mika is a male, so 220 minus his age of 60. 220 minus 60, 160 beats per minute is Mika's maximum heart rate. What about Mika's resting heart rate? Well, again, we're told at rest, 44 times in 30 seconds, so it's the number of beats, 44, divided by the number of minutes, that's 30 over 60, and that is 88 beats per minute. So far, so good. Now, what about Mika's target heart rate or training heart rate? We're not going to use the formula this time, right, based on the intensity. No. We know after his exercise how many times his heart beats in a certain amount of time. So just like I calculated resting heart rate, I'm going to calculate Mika's target heart rate this time, or training heart rate, the same way. Number of beats divided by the number of minutes, 30 over 16 over 60, gives me 113 beats per minute is his training heart rate. And can we describe that as an intensity level? Now we're going to go back to that formula. So our intensity is the difference between the training and resting divided by the difference between the maximum and resting, right? How much we've increased it over how much we could increase it. Right, let's pull out the calculator to do that one. Clear that away. Let's put the fraction up first. 113 minus 88 over 160 minus 88 equals, now we get this, what is a percentage? So let's multiply it by 100. Again, 34.7, maybe 35%. Sounds pretty good. So Mika is training at about 35% intensity there after his swim. Righto, I think that's pretty much it. We have covered quite a few things in this video so far. So maximum heart rate for males is 220 minus your age. For females, 226 minus your age. We can calculate a training or target heart rate using this formula, and the intensity using this formula. Remembering that intensity is a percentage, we might multiply that by 100 as well. Righto, that's it. There is quite a few things we've covered there. If I have made a mistake, and you know what happens, or if you're not sure about something, please make sure that you ask me to clear that up. Rightio, I will see you in class or in the next video, which is on blood pressure, and trust me, it is very brief. Okay, thanks, you 12.